you're more, with groups, you're more visual out on the road. When you're by yourself, less visual. So that's why you want your lights working. You want colors on and fluorescent colors and not wearing all black at midnight or something like that. Because you got to watch intersections. Main intersection, watching that at peripheral vision. So you're watching all those intersections, you're going down. What I try to do is if there's 3 lanes, I try to be in the center lane. Or clear over to the left lane. Or if it's just 1 lane and you're going down through intersections, try to stay to the inside lane so you have room if you see them coming in. So intersections, especially around here, these people, they do not stop for lights. They go around the corner on the right-hand turn. And so you want to watch every intersection. And what I do at intersections too is tap your brake. When you get to an intersection, you tap your brake, that's going to, all of us have either flashing lights or bright lights and stuff. That car that's behind you kind of wakes them up. They notice you a little bit. So they're watching you when you're at an intersection so that you're not giving them a surprise at the last minute.
Excuse
So-
me, I also live in my mirrors,
Yeah.
because you want to know when you're coming to that intersection, who the guy is coming up behind.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Especially around here, the way these people drive, you know, so at least maybe you might have a shot, pulling over,
Yeah.
taking off, whatever.
That's my other main thing. When you go up, that was the next thing I mentioned. When you pull up to an intersection, you're stopped. All right? Give that little extra room up there. Always stop to the left or the right,
Right.
so behind the vehicle. You park to the left or the right. So if this car is sitting too close to this curb and I don't have an exit, I'm going to be over here to the right so I can get through here. So you want to keep your escape route.
Escape route,
Escape
that's right.
route is really
Right.
important. And then leave that bike. Don't put it in neutral.
I don't know why people
Keep
do
it
that.
in and
Right.
keep your eye on that mirror.
Right.
Watch those cars pulling up behind you.
That's the worst thing I see
All right?
people.
The other thing is, when you're riding, always watch 2 and 3 vehicles ahead of you.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
mean, that car up there is gonna, this car, if you just concentrate on the car in front of you, or the bike in front of you, even riding in a group, okay, stopping at lights. If you're first in line, or you're behind, and there's a semi-truck behind you, remember, those guys, sometimes they pull up there and they might be doing some stupid-ass thing on their computer or something, and they take off and you're ready to go, they can't see you,
That's right. It's a blind
right?
town.
I always, semi-trucks, trucks, dump trucks, I always try to stay away from them. I'll speed up to get around them. I'll get as far away from any of them as I can. Lane positioning, that lane positioning is really, you know, you've got 3 positions in that lane and you want to stay, if you're riding by yourself, you know, and I see these people riding straight down the middle. I said, I try to stay to one side or the other. I mean, all this traffic coming towards you, if you stay over to the right a lot of times, because these people, there's a lot of head-ons around us and a lot of hit and runs. Obstacles, watching those obstacles in the roads too. But, you know, it only takes just that. And if you're not concentrating completely on that road, something's gonna happen.
Excuse me, getting into that. Also, if you're riding alone on a road, all right, keep plenty of distance between the car in front of you, because say there's a blowout with a truck and a piece of rubber, he drives over it, you want to allow enough time, so if you see that piece of rubber, you're able to go over it rather than going over
Right.
it, around it, rather.
And remember, animals, there's been 3 accidents now that people have really smashed up. One fatality because they were trying to miss a cat, and the other one a raccoon, and one a dog or something. I says, you know, I mean, it's, you think, you know, you feel for that animal, but man, it's better to hit them. A lot of
Yeah.
times brush them than trying to
Right.
swerve.
I had it happen to
I'm
me.
talking about vehicles, cars,
Bent my
and
crash bar
motorcycles.
back about 2 inches.
Unless it's a deer.
Yeah. You gotta remember, mainly animals, especially deer, a lot of times if you just hold your thing, a deer, and I've been around a lot of them, even if they stop, a lot of times they'll stop and go this way. So if you're gonna swerve, they're gonna make a fast turn and you're gonna hit them. Better to go toward them, because they're either gonna move off this way or this way, a lot of times.
I had one to walk into my bike. I'm running 5 miles an hour. He's sitting there. The time I get there, he walked right into my bike, my crash bar. I was down about 5 miles an hour. The mother was on this side of the road. 2 of them was over here. Something gonna move.
Oh, my God.
Time I get there, he moved.
I live up north, and I live in the country. You go down these these dark roads, right, there's not one or two of them.
Oh, yeah.
There'll be 4 or 5 of
Yeah.
them.
And I don't know if anybody ever checks, you know, I can see both my hands, my fingers be right here.
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah.
But check your peripheral vision, how far can you see your hands out in front of you like this? Both, how far can you go before they disappear? I can get right there before they disappear.
Some people are here.
How many, does
Yeah.
everybody know their peripheral vision and where their peripheral vision is? Okay, now go to riding in a group. Hand signals, very important. And I've noticed as tailing, they'll start out good in our groups. We have like 12, 13 bikes, but by the time they get halfway through, a lot of these people are not passing them back. It's important to keep everybody clear to the end, passing those hand signals back. But not only, like if you're gonna make a right-hand turn, I see a lot of the guys, they'll make the right-hand turn and they'll go like this, they don't turn the turn signal on. Remember, use your turn signal and your hand signals. You got your right turn, your left turn, slow down and stop. If there's any kind of, if you're having heart problems, or you don't feel good, or you feel dizzy or something, this now has become if you put your hand up like this, and we've been pressing it here at the club a lot. I bring it up at the meetings, we're supposed to be bringing it up when we talk before the rides. That means that you're in distress. So that the bike back here is up so you can get off. So you go off to the side. So especially if you're in a group and this guy over here does it, these guys can back up, this guy so you can get off to the right-hand side rather than try to go across the road or something. And then everybody can pass back. And remember, we're on channel 14, so you want to keep your CB. If you have a CB, keep it on. Keep on 14, so that if somebody needs a message passed back or somebody isn't getting good communication, you can get back with them. Plus, with your radios on, you know what the group's doing before they do it a lot of times. But those hand signals are very, we go like this, right? That means there's a car or a bike or something, a bicyclist or a pedestrian on the side of the road so everybody can notice it, pass that back. Point out debris in the road, so you're either pointing it out with your hand or foot. If you have a trike, don't use your foot because the guy back there can't see it because of the fenders. So always reach over and point that out.
Sometimes,
Like on the Wednesday ride, there was a new signal that I didn't quite understand. We pull up to a stop sign and the two guys that were like 2 bikes ahead of me, they'd stand up like this and go like that. And
Shake your
that was, what song was on the radio?
Trying to get that blood out.
Be honest with you, I do that all the time myself.
Well, the worst time was when the bee stung
Oh,
the
that was
balls.
bad. That was a bad
Yeah, and I had a lot of people feeling sorry for me, all laughing, everybody was honking their horn. Oh, that hurt.
And Deb was trying to rub that salve on it.
TMI.
Everybody knows about the spacing. Remember, you have, that road is split down, right, so your lane is split into 2. So if you're in front of me, you have this half of this lane, I have this half of this lane. You have that 1 second between that and 1 second you and the bike in front of you, and I have 2 seconds before that bike in front of me. Okay, so that when you wander, and we have some people in the club that do that once in a while, you need to stay in that because especially our road captains, the tail, if I'm tailing, I ride in the center. So I can see the road captain up there. I can see down through the middle. He can see my headlight. So he knows, because we rely a lot right now on radios. But before we had the radios, we did everything without radios.
Yeah.
And that was our main thing, was being able to see that road captain back there. Well, still, when I'm leading, I watch my tail, and when I'm tailing, I want to see so that we can keep a direct communication. So that's why you want to stay in that and not wander. So remember, and when you wander over like this bike is back here, he's leaving that space, so you have an emergency space in front of you. But when he's doing that, he's concentrating a lot watching you, because he's getting nervous watching you go back and forth like this. And then he's taking his concentration off of watching 2 and 3 bikes ahead to watch for those taillights, watching his mirrors. So that's why it's really, I think, a very important thing to stay in that part of your lane, going around a turn. You know, not, if you're out on the outside lane, you stay to the outside and swing out. If you're on the inside, you stay close to the curb when you're going around, so you go around in uniform like this. A lot of these people are cut over in front, so you're concentrating on this and not watching for gravel in the road or anything like that. So that spacing is very important when you're in groups. And the other thing is keeping that spacing so that we have guys that are leaving from here to that wall. That's just an invitation for those cars to come in. And we don't want to fight with cars because they're bigger than us. But that if you leave that space there, big enough that they're going to be able to drive a semi-truck in it, they're going to come in and cross through you instead of slowing down and letting the group go through. So that when you're leaving more of a space than from like here to that wall over there, that car lane, that's causing danger and to everybody from you, everybody behind you. And
What length would you say you suggest? What is?
we use
In other words,
it's
a
1 second
rule at 40 miles an hour. What distance is that?
we stay 1 second and 2 seconds. As you go faster, you want to leave a little bit more room. It's what you feel comfortable of when you know you can stop and you can watch that. I mean, a lot of more experience when you ride with a lot of people and you get to know the people in it, you can ride a little closer. But if you just stay back a little bit, usually in town at 30 miles an hour, 1 to 1.5, 2 seconds is going to be enough space in there. A car space, a lot of times when you're in town, there's a little bit too much space sometimes. But it's what you have to remember, no matter when you're riding with a group, you have to ride your own bike and what you feel comfortable with. And if you don't feel comfortable like riding up front, ride toward the back. And a lot of times I tell new people, if you feel too cramped, riding the back isn't a good idea. It's better to get up front. Because if you ride up toward the front, there's less bikes in front of you, you feel more comfortable sometimes. But you want to ride in your own comfort zone and your own safety zone. So everybody, you have to ride your own bike and not somebody else's. If you have a problem, we have great road captains. So talk to your road captain and tell them your problem and everything. Or if you think that somebody else, but don't go yelling at somebody else and thing. Go up and say something to the road captain. Or my number's in the thing 24/7. Well, I might not answer between midnight and 6, but you can get a hold of me and talk to me at any time about any problem you have. Lights too. If you're back there and the group's going through a light, one of the main thing is you have to make your decision on whether you're going to try to go through that light, yellow, red, whatever it is when you're with the group. So you have to do what you feel comfortable. But the main thing is make your decision and then stick to it. If don't start, oh, I'm going to do that, and slam on your brakes because that guy behind you, you've sped up, he's going to speed up. And all of a sudden you're slamming on the brake, he's going to slam on the brake. So, make up your mind what you're going to do and decide what you're going to do. A lot of times, if there's no traffic, maybe you'll go in through it yellow. If it's not, then you decide to stop because everybody's going to stop. You're going to have a problem if you go slowing down, you hit your brakes, everybody's starting, and all of a sudden you take off. Well, this guy's going to take off, and that's what's going to hit you. So that's,
happened to me when the woman slammed on her brakes.
yeah, making it illegal. Yeah, Deb had a problem. She was in the middle of the car when the woman
No,
slammed on her brakes.
actually, I was to this side, but there was another lane of traffic next to me.
Yeah, and she caught the woman slamming on the brake, making an illegal U-turn.
As we were going around the turn, she slams on her brakes, making a legal U-turn, and bam!
What I usually do when I ride is I try,
Yeah.
if I see a car that's flying and all of a sudden they're slowing down, I know they're on their cell phone. If they're doing a little weaving, I know they're on their cell phone. I try to steer away from them. I watch all the traffic going. I know cars in front of me and back of me on the road. I know about what they're going to do.
Right.
Anticipate.
Right.
I anticipate everything they're
You have
going
to
to do.
read the
Because,
road, right.
Yeah, the way they're driving, and I know all these cars around me, how they're driving. If they're driving fast, if they're driving slow. If I get in and I see these cars up front and they're driving real slow and they're over the left lane, I try to watch and I'll get over. So I'm in advance, 3 streets ahead of them, I'm over away from them. So it's just anticipating what's going to happen, keeping an eye on don't take your eyes off the road, and the people around you, don't be, you know,
Daydreaming?
yeah.
Yeah. Don't ride in their blind spot.
Yeah, right.
Don't
Is there any-
ride in the blind
Yes.
spot.
Michael,
Yes, Gary.
I have a group driving question, maybe everybody.
Okay.
Somebody can answer this. You're riding a stick, maybe 25 bucks, that's a moving traffic obstruction.
Yeah.
Okay. Car comes along and puts their turn signal on, middle of the stick.
Yeah.
Look ahead, there's a stop light up there, obviously this guy's looking to turn. Back off, let him inside, or let
Yeah,
him
that's
wait
gonna be,
until it goes through. I don't think we can wait, I don't think we can force him to wait. I mean, I think we ought to.
You
let him
can't.
in.
Yeah, he may
You
not.
can't.
He very possibly
Well, you
may
say,
not
for
wait.
your-
yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, because
everybody's
on the
in
main
the
thing
middle.
like that especially, and the place
Yeah.
that you guys have to watch is, if anybody's riding, we do
Yeah,
it once in a while,
right.
when we're going down through, 6 Mile Cypress, and we're coming up to Summerlin. Summerlin goes up over the overhead and around like this. That is a good thing up there. We get a line of bikes in here like those guys are coming up there and they want in. So a lot of times, it's better, if you see, if you're right here and that guy turns his turn signal and he looks like he's gonna come in, slow down. It'll slow the whole pack down. Let him in. Because you gotta remember, don't argue with cars. We've had a lot of them, let them in. I mean, we've let them in gobs of times. We have, and I have, because I know they're gonna come in on you. Because sooner or later, they've got this bike here, this bike here, and what you're doing is if you're not slowing down, you're putting this bike in front of you and hit you, because that car is gonna come between this bike and force this guy into the curb.
It's also a matter of courtesy.
Yeah,
Right.
and then car drivers.
Yeah,
gotta
when
get
we have
that.
20, 25
Yeah,
bikes.
yeah, you're right.